Hello, everyone. I'm Logan Taylor. I will be moderating this Q&A for the wonderful film Merry-Go-Round. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We are so honored to be joined today by director Daria Woszek, cinematographer Michal Pukowiec,
Hello.
lead actress Grazyna Misiorowska, and Sylwester Piechura is also here as well, right? Who's the co-writer of the film?
Yes, hello. Hey, hello. Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Dobry wieczór.
Thank you all for being here. I would love to first just congratulate you all on having your film finally get to play in front of an audience. I know that you were an official selection for South by Southwest, but this is your first official premiere in front of people, correct?
Correct. Thank you very much. So we're also very excited to finally premiere in front of the audience.
Congrats. Well, with that in mind, this is also your debut feature, correct? For both you and Michal. Can you guys speak a bit about the process of getting this film off the ground and the idea to make this film?
Would you like to start or should I?
No, you should.
I mean, the idea was like the mixture of Sylwester's observation, because Sylwester is like the main writer of the movie. I'm the co-writer, and we have another co-writer, Alexandra Świerk. So we were like totally mesmerized by this taboo idea of reaching the menopause. So Sylwester worked very closely with Grazyna, and I was kind of observing and discussing things with my mom. So that was the start of the movie, but I think in general is the question, who are we? I mean, I mean, in general, when you just don't define yourself by the social and cultural roles, who are you? So that's the main question in the movie, and we're trying to describe or to catch this kind of femininity. For me, it's, and I guess for Sylwester and Grazyna, is like the mixture of kind of wild side and very sort of saint features. So there we have our crazy mixture of merry-go-round. I don't know if Grazyna or Sylwester would like to add something.
No, it's correct. I'm not a master of menopauses because I'm a man, but the idea of our movie was start when I met Grazyna and Daria met together and talk about idea of this history. Yeah.
Great.
Maybe I will add something like from the different perspective, because he wasn't the writer, obviously.
Może Sylwester nie jest mistrzem menopauzy.
Maybe Sylwester is not the master of menopause.
Ale jest mistrzem przyklejenia plastrów.
But he is the best at sticking the patches.
Menopause slices, yeah.
Tak, dlatego że ja naprawdę je myliłam.
Because I really did mess mine up when I was applying those. And he helped her, right?
I Sylwester rozpisywał mi miesięczne plany przyklejania plastrów.
Sylwester made me a monthly basis calendars for the patches.
Opisując mi je pięknymi comiesięcznymi wierszami.
Using a different poem for every day, every month. Sorry.
I ten kalendarz mam do dzisiaj jako pamiątkę po tym dziwnym czasie.
And I've got the calendar. I've kept it as a souvenir of this wild times, right?
I ten kalendarz jest też z Maryjkami.
And the calendar has Mother Mary's on it as well.
Great. It's art imitating life. That's great.
Yeah, it's all connected.
This calendar is played in our movie. We have a scene when the Helena is changing the slices of Mary, and it's a real scene in our movie from inspiration of our life.
Like, that's amazing. Very scientifically accurate. Grazyna, can you also speak a bit to your experience, because this is your first time acting in a film as well, right?
Jak mówiłam wcześniej, że to, że przepracowałam 30 lat w teatrze.
As I've said before, the fact that I've worked for 30 years in a theatre as an actor.
Tak naprawdę nie pomogło mi w niczym.
Didn't help me at all.
Dlatego, że jest to kompletnie inny zawód.
Because it's a completely different occupation to what I'm accustomed to.
I tak z tego, co wiem i co większość ludzi opowiada, znających się na zawodzie filmowca.
And from what I know and from what my friends are saying that know the filmmaking industry.
Praca w teatrze może tylko przeszkadzać.
Working in a theatre can only be an obstruction on your way up.
Bo trzeba operować zupełnie innym językiem.
Because you get to operate a different artistic language.
Interesting. Can you speak to a specific example of a challenge you faced in working in film instead?
Tak, w teatrze musisz wszystko swoim ciałem pokazać.
Yes, in theatre you have to work with your body and show everything with your body.
Twój głos musi być bardzo wyrazisty i donośny.
Your voice has to be really clear and loud.
A praca w filmie powoduje to, że wszystko musi być w środku.
And working on a film puts all those things inside, all the emotion.
I środki wyrazu są bardzo ograniczone.
And the means to just, put yourself there are very limited, right?
I właściwie wszystko to, co dzieje się na planie,
and everything was happening on set,
musi dziać się w twojej głowie,
has to be happening inside
w
your
twoim
mind,
sercu,
inside your heart.
A twoje ciało jest w porównaniu z tym, co jest w teatrze, uwięzione.
And your body, comparing to the theatre, is imprisoned.
Well, I will say that you gave a very restrained performance and very subtle emotions on your face. So, I mean, it worked. You transferred over to film quite gracefully.
To jest,
Thank you, but it's...
to jest bardzo, bardzo piękne doświadczenie, piękna przygoda.
A very beautiful experience, a beautiful adventure.
Do której mogę tak powiedzieć, doprowadziła mnie moja menopauza, a nie mój zawód w teatrze.
To which I was led by my menopause and not my theatre acting.
Barely acting at all then. No, it was wonderful. So can Sylwester, will you speak a bit more to the religious imagery and the metaphors that you were kind of weaving into the script here?
When I was young, I was singing in a church choir.
Choir.
So I was grew up in a church singing all of this saints song. So it's very close to my imagine in my heart. So. That was the first step to think about this idea. So I was looking and searching some inspiration how we can with Daria and also with Ola and with Grazyna, because those story was dedicated to Grazyna. We all of searching how we can find a way to explain this story. Where is the saints woman, and when is also the normal woman? How to mix it, the saints world and the normal world. So the base was my imagination, and I grew up in a church chorus. So we have all of us. Michal and Daria and Grazyna and I, we have a very special sense of humor. So I think it is in this movie. We know very well each other.
Just these things, I would say that it's also part of this kind of religious things is more like the part of our tradition and culture.
Yeah.
More than beliefs right now. So Maryjki, the Polish title, is we are trying to connect it with this more folklore thinking about Virgin Mary figurines, more like in a pagan way. I mean, she's more connected. I mean, this Virgin Mary is more connected to these Vestal virgins or other female goddess. I mean, closer to the people. It's not so Catholic, and it's more like feminine figure of virgin, but not especially connected with Catholic beliefs. And
Tłumaczyłam i rozmawiałam z Sylwestrem.
I've always told Sylwester,
że Pan Jezus był bardzo wyluzowanym człowiekiem.
That Jesus was a really chilled man.
Ponieważ pierwszym cudem, jaki zrobił w swoim życiu, to przemienił wodę w wino.
Because his first ever miracle was turning water into wine.
Więc myślę, że wyszliśmy też z takiego założenia,
So I think that we came from this little assumption,
żeby odebrać mu pomnikowość, a pozwolić mu być naprawdę dobrym i wychillautowanym człowiekiem.
to demonumentize Jesus and just let him be a good, chilled out man that is leading you throughout life, right?
I like that.
Jesus is Jesus, yeah.
So we do have a question from the audience, and I encourage anyone who's watching to feel free to type a question in the Q&A box. This is from Cedric. He asked, the diner date with the guy from the clothing store did such a sudden 180-degree turn that I wondered if it wasn't all in Mary's head or if it really happened. His turn from charming to almost psychopathic was really sudden. Can you guys speak to that?
It's a good question, because it's what we are aiming to writing this scene, because this is the part in the movie when you can discover the darker side of our character. She's not sane anymore, and it's a mixture of her imaginary world and thinking about the best date with Prince Charming and some other acting. So yeah, I guess we wanted to be on the edge. So you really don't know what happened, but for her, because it's more like a story of unconsciousness about femininity, so it's more important how you feel about it. It's more kind of like psychological trance, or I don't know how to describe it in another way than really like slice of life movie, right? It's like genre cinema, not really a psychological movie. So it should. I just wanted to be like really a bit ambiguous, so we don't know really what happened. I mean, for her, this scene for her is very, dramatic. This is the kind of point of no return when you discover your dark side. So I don't know if Grazyna would like to add something about this dinner scene, or Sylwester or Michal, because we changed everything, even the camera movement during the scene. So like it was a special moment in our movie. Grazyna? Chcesz coś dodać?
To jest coś takiego, że to myślę, że nie wiem, nie siedzę w twojej głowie, Daria, ale to wydaje mi się, że większość kobiet, w ogóle większość ludzi, spotykając innego człowieka, bardziej kocha swoje wyobrażenia niż to, co jest naprawdę.
So I'm not in Daria's head, but what I'm thinking is that people, when they meet another person, they're thinking about them more than the reality about them, right?
I to jest takie wyobrażenie Marii, któremu postać Sylwestra w pewnym momencie się przeciwstawia i to jest super moim zdaniem.
And this is some kind of Maria's projection that Sylvester's character goes against at some moment, and I think that is really nice.
I w tej scenie myślę, że i postać Sylwestra i postać moja walczymy o siebie.
In this scene, I think that my character and Sylwek's character are fighting for each other, for one another.
Oboje tak naprawdę nie słuchamy siebie nawzajem, jako postaci oczywiście.
And we both do not listen to each other as characters.
I chcemy od siebie czegokolwiek innego, nie możemy się spotkać w naszych pragnieniach.
Each of us wants something different and we cannot meet up in our desires, right?
To się często w życiu zdarza.
And it happens often in real life.
Absolutely. It's a very, very apt metaphor for relationships, right? You prescribe what you want from a person. And I love that seems to be a recurring theme in this film as well, right? This concept of what her dreams are versus what reality is. And every time those things collide, it's kind of a beautiful or violent or terrifying moment in this film. So masterfully done on all counts. Did you want to add anything more, Sylwester?
No, it's absolutely okay. I think Michal should set about this. Our DOP should set about this scene because it's absolutely moment when all of things about moving in our film is changing. It's a different way to
like everything is completely
showing.
Like
Yeah.
like camera movement and like
Music.
Yes,
Yeah, the
that was a
type-
very special moment for
The
the
type
movie.
of
Like,
acting. So yeah, it was our like the point of no return in the story. So it was planned. It's not like doing by accident or.
It's not a destiny.
so I hope you can actually read it. Like when you watch the scene, like the whole movie is cutted by the shot by shot are 90-degree cuts.
Yeah.
And that scene is completely camera movement is like, because for the whole movie the camera sticks to the main character. Actually the whole moves like in the David Fincher movies, and that scene is completely different. Like we use the circular dolly track, we are using pan and scan like behind the main character, so we really want to put the attention for that scene, because I think the embarrassment of all the scenes and the expectation we had to the other people, and that's what Grazyna say, like the people cannot meet in one point. Sometimes they sitting in one room, but they cannot meet with the expectation in one point. We were trying to bring it up, like that's the only scene in the movie which had completely different camera movement. Yeah,
it's like their own private horror story. They cannot meet, and that's the whole drama about it. So it should be a perfect dinner, the beginning of the perfect romance, but it's a totally disaster. So yeah.
So yeah, actually for the whole movie we are trying to, like I would say, like hold our horses with the camera movement and everything to build the whole movie till this scene, which completely destroyed the whole visual side of the movie and camera movement and the actors playing the characters. So yeah.
That's great. I mean, it's like a very literal her breaking away from herself, right? Like you're with her and then it's like her emotional break and the camera pulls away from her. That's so cool. Great.
Thank you. But as we can read, it's sometimes problematic to understand, but yeah, we wanted to make it that way.
And also because we doesn't have an editor in here, but I think the editing also in the scene is different than to the other. So it gives you the time to feel embarrassed by the situation. Like you see there is two people.
And there is no escape from
There is no escape from the situation. And I think each one of us got the situation, building the relation like that. Like sometimes you meet the person, you got some expectation, but it's like you cannot meet together. So yeah, that's what we are trying to do with the audience. So like you feel a bit embarrassed by the whole situation. Like you find yourself in the situation, like each one of us were in the situation like that in the life. So
yeah, truly the worst.
We are thinking like, what the fuck I'm doing here? Like, you know, it's
Yeah, it should be confusing. So yeah, so I guess it works.
Apparently, yeah, it
that
does.
scene confused many people, I guess. So
It's very shocking.
actually, we get what we want.
Yeah.
I hope.
We have another question. Did someone want to speak more to that? No? Okay. Yagub asked, hello, Daria, amazing movie. In one of your interviews, you said that making this movie within the current political climate in Poland has not been easy. Do you think the movie will be in cinemas in Poland?
Hopefully, but we're not sure yet.
We were discussing it actually today.
Yeah, we don't know yet, but you know, the situation is really dynamic, so we'll see. But yeah, it would be really nice to share the story with Polish audience also.
What was the challenge about making this in Poland currently?
I mean, you know, making it wasn't really the challenge. I mean, right now,
the political situation changed a little bit.
Can lead to this, that the whole story could be
misunderstood by the Polish audience.
Misunderstood by them, maybe not by audience, but general. I mean, it's always, you know, with movies and with stories, you can interpret it in so many ways. So at some point, it could be really problematic right now. I don't know, Grazyna, would you like to add something about this current political...
Że brakuje nam dystansu, nam jako społeczeństwu.
I think we are lacking social distance for it.
Do pewnych figur.
Towards some figures in our lives.
Religijnych, znaczeniowych.
And it goes for religious figures and rhetoric figures of meaning.
Wolimy się czegoś bać niż coś zrozumieć.
We rather tend to be afraid of something than understand it.
Wolimy coś wielbić niż z czymś rozmawiać.
And we prefer to worship something than to discuss with it.
Bo tak jest prościej.
Because it's the easier solution.
I myślę, że nasza polska wiara wychodzi bardziej z lęku.
And I think that our Polish Catholic belief system is more rooted in fear.
A nie z dialogu.
And not in dialogue between people.
Nie rozmawiamy, czcimy.
We are not discussing, we are worshipping.
I to nas w pewnym sensie ogranicza.
And in a sense, this puts some restraint on us.
Wow.
Thank you, very well said.
Correct, Grazyna, thank you.
Yeah, that was wonderfully put. And I mean, very brave and good on all of you for making this film in that climate. That's wonderful. I have another question for you, Michal, regarding the cinematography choices and kind of the lighting choices, right? And if maybe there's some hint in there as well about when we're in reality versus when we're in kind of a surreal space, how that was used.
Yeah, we are trying to work on that through the color mostly. Like you can probably see it in the movie. Like we choose very, I would say, strange colors sometimes, which should bring up the hits with like the main characters get. I know how to say it.
Powiedz po polsku?
Że no, jakby próbowaliśmy podbić kolorami te uderzenia gorące, które Grazyna miała.
Also, I would like to emphasize this heat wave of menopause with some colors, and what I can add, we were very inspired by a very popular church in Krakow, St. Assisi's, and by the lights of stained glass panels, right? I don't know if I'm just describing it well. So we were trying to catch the atmosphere of the church and put this
inside the Grazyna's house, like the character house,
just to make sort of a sanctuary feeling at her apartment.
Yeah, but that's in general. But sometimes we are shifting the colors, like, and what I was trying to do was like the heating, like those moments when you get these hits.
Yeah, and
so the colors are getting more intense. Then you get those pinks. Then you get those strange greens. Like,
yeah, and this crazy rides on hormone, right? And
I will say like the whole color grading in the movie is crazy, but there are some parts which are more crazy than because like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so in general, the hormone rides were more colorful and more crazy than normal Maria's world.
Got it. That's
general,
great.
the whole Maria's world is.
Yeah, she's living in kind of fairy tale, and I mean, mostly we are just observers during the story, except this dinner scene when you are kind of witness.
I would say, like, we always say in Poland, like, you know, about the American movies, like they look different in external shots because there is a different angle of sunlight. Like there is many people in Poland which are saying that that's what we are trying to do with Merry-Go-Round was like to find the universal light, which is universal for America, Japan, Asia, Poland, Africa. So I was trying to find the sun, which you cannot say is a California sunset or is a sunrise in Japan. It's just like to find some universe, which is like connecting all the continents and lighting angles and build a world from which is like universal for every continent and every culture. So that's why it looks, I think, a bit dreamy. Like the whole movie is just created, like completely created to the light.
Okay. And was all of that, I mean, the lighting on top of the beautiful, you know, production design and the set decoration, right? It's all that kind of stylized, you know, hyper real aesthetic, a little bit like Wes Anderson quirky. Was that something that you had envisioned from writing it, Sylwester, or was that something that you kind of added in Daria as you crafted it?
Zrozumiałeś?
Tak, ale Jezus, ja nie wiem, w którym momencie to tak naprawdę powstało. No.
I think it gets from one photography of George Crowdson, the American
which Daria found, yeah.
And she showed us the photography, and that was actually the one photography was the whole mood for the movie.
Yeah, but it's also
it's us, all of us. We meet like before that
so
meeting. We read the script, then we get into the Daria's apartment for the first discussion about the movie, and Daria showed us the pictures and said, "Hey, look at what I see! Like, look at what I found, the photography." And
I won't like that. She said, "I won't like that."
We mostly based on that photography. It was like something.
Yeah.
It's also very inspired, but by Edward Hopper's paintings. So it's like all around. So we would like to create this world which is a bit dreamy. It's like kind of.
But also Miles Aldrich photography, like we were looking for like very strange references for that.
Yeah,
movie.
and maybe not really Wes Anderson, but Roy Anderson is my one favorite directors. So it's more like Roy Anderson than Wes, but yeah, the situation is really similar. I mean, we are building the world when we put our characters in kind of box. Think of observing things, and then we can play with them, and it's more like fairy tale, as I said, than a really psychological movie. When you should feel more, then really think about which is, I mean, the reality and what is her imagination. So it's like the mixture, and I wanted to make it that way.
Yeah, but that's actually how we work on that movie. Like we took lots of work with Daria and Sylwester. I took many pictures, then we print the pictures, we put them on the floor, and we are choosing what actually suits to the Grazyna, like to the main character world, what's not. So from thousands of photos, we build the world. We choose like 12 or 11 photos, like
and some colors to
colors
be sure
or something
that
like that.
they are gonna be referential to her state of mind.
But the main definition, and that was something, the rules that Daria gave me as a cinematographer at the beginning was like, we are not doing close-ups. I'm not interested in close-ups. The closest the portrait shot. And the second thing was like I want the movie, like, and the each cut to be made by 90 degree. Only because to build that final dinner scene, and that was something what Daria straight from the beginning. Like, I want that scene to be completely different from the rest of the movie. And we are thinking like there is many things, like there is lots of technology now to make some very strange camera moves or something, but we decide like maybe camera pan will be something which is like using very often, is very common in the movie. But if we do the whole movie, which is like cut by the 90 degree, and then we go to the scene, which is like you actually follow the main character, that will be something like to use the simplest tools you can get to make this impact on the scene, like to change the whole world. So actually, when actually Sylwester, when the both characters, like Sylwester and Grazyna, are getting into the flat for the dinner, then actually there is the first moment when they are getting into the flat, and then the camera starts to pan behind them. Like there is no any other move like that in the movie, and only that scene is built up like that. So actually there was few rules which Daria give us from the beginning, like 90 degree, no close-ups. Like,
Great.
that was very hard sometimes to tell like few parts of the movie. That's why we actually decide to build the whole flat in the studio, because we did like 2 days of test shooting with Grazyna, but they was in natural location. Like we found some place which was more or less as we wanted to look like when we built it, but then we realized like actually I'm not able to light it like Daria wanted. If we have a cellar, like I need the entrance for the lights from the top, and we need the set design to be moved. Like sometimes we want to be with the camera in the place which in the real location is impossible, because actually for the whole movie we are trying to build a distance between the character and the viewer. So you watch it like in the box, like it's like Broadway, like some Broadway show, you know what I mean? It's not the movie, it's a theater actually. It's
like her own theater with her, because she's like the main character in her own story, right?
So we are using the film tool, but actually we are trying to make a theater inside of it, like to build this claustrophobic feeling.
Interesting. I'm going to have to rewatch the whole movie with all of this in mind and just kind of try to pick out your lighting cues and the camera. That's so great.
Now it sounds more complicated than
I hope it's not only our wishes, you know, like I hope you will see it in the movie, not just like the wish.
Now I know to pay attention for it.
Now you know all our secrets.
But I still hope there is some small things which can surprise you. Like when you watch it once more, that's what we are like. We are very careful about that. Also with the set design change during the scene or something. There is lots of details in. That's why the depth of field is not very small. It's like you can see everything because there is many changes inside the frame, which are actually the set design changes, not only the light changes. I will say even there is more set design changes which are making the mood of the movie than actually the light changes or camera movement changes. But they're the small details, and when you see not on the first plane, but when you see behind the main character in the scene, that's why the wide angles and the depth of field is so big, then you can realize that actually the Grazyna world is changing, like completely. The flat is changing. There is like
wonderful.
We are trying to put inside the movie, but
well, so now everybody's going to watch it.
Inside.
It's inside.
Inside tips, inside knowledge.
Well, everyone can rewatch it, by the way. It's playing again on August 31st. So if you want to watch it and kind of look for these little changes in the background, go for it. Changes in lighting and the camera. We are about at the end point, but does anyone have any final questions that audience members that they want to give out? otherwise, my final question for you all is what's next for you? What are you working on? What are you excited about?
I've got a few projects, also very feminine oriented, but I cannot tell more right now because they are at the very first stage of development. So,
and I'm actually finished the next feature film, but the situation, like the COVID situation, is like actually I've got 2 movies stuck. So Merry-Go-Round is first, and soon there will be the second movie release, which is from one side completely different, but it's still about the sexuality, but of teenager and growing up and getting mature with getting mature with your sexuality. So it will be different movie. We already finished that. It's ready. It's waiting to be released. And yeah, and now I'm going to make some documentary movie. Just like after 2 feature films, I need something to cut the crew, cut a little bit of light, equipment and everything, and just follow
follow your heart.
Yeah, just going with the camera by myself, the character and the director, small crew. So I'm really excited about that. And I hope you can guys see it next year or something. Like, I think it will be a long story. Like, we are at the beginning, we are starting at 7th of September. So it will be, I think 1 year of work or something with a few characters. Yeah, that's what we are doing now.
Keep an eye out. How about you, Sylwester and Grazyna?
I work very close with Daria, so I also cannot says nothing more about our secret projects. But now we have a pause in theater in Poland, so we have still vacation and free time right now.
Great. Yeah, enjoy it, I guess.
Thanks.
Yeah. Grazyna, what are you working on?
Ja wczoraj skończyłam swój drugi film.
Yesterday I finished shooting my other film.
To też była dziwna przygoda, dlatego że tak jak Michał i Daria powiedzieli, oni stworzyli bajeczny świat.
It was also a bizarre adventure because, as Michael and Daria said, they have made a fairy tale world.
A ten film był kręcony w naturze i o świetle i magii światła w ogóle nie było mowy.
And this film, on the contrary, was shot in nature, so no light work magic, right?
Więc zderzyłam się z zupełnie innym światem związanym z filmem.
So it put me in a completely different world of movie.
Tęsknię do naszego wypieszczonego.
And I really miss our really well-tailored world for Maria inside the studio, right?
I teraz czekam, co się wydarzy w życiu.
And I'm just waiting for what life is going to bring further.
A ponieważ mam tyle lat, ile mam, to czekanie nie jest strasznie bolące.
And because I am of my age, waiting is not really painful.
Well, I, for one, am very excited to see what all of you do next. So I will be paying close attention to the rest of your careers. If anybody who is participating wants to continue the conversation, y'all are welcome to join the Discord. Is Daria, Sylwester, Grazyna, are you guys going to go join the Discord for a little bit and see if anyone wants to chat?
Yeah, we'll go there. So I've just already just look at it. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting over there. I'm a bit scared.
We already
yeah, because there are a lot of different, very specific questions. So yeah, I'm ready to answer them.
Good luck. And thank you all so much for your time. It's been wonderful to talk to you and hear a little bit more about this film that I love so much. And best of luck with the rest of your experience with Fantasia.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.